Have you ever had something unexpected happen in your salon and found yourself moving money around just to keep everything running? Yeah, I know it's hard sometimes. I'm Kim Nicole, and I'm a 30-year hairstylist and salon owner, and I've seen it all. I absolutely love the beauty industry, but today my focus has shifted somewhat. Now I help business owners create greater financial flexibility using strategies most people have never ever seen. So today I'm going to walk you through Jasmine's story and show you how she created a financial reserve that she could access when her business needed it the most. Now, Jasmine wasn't broke, okay? She had a pretty decent salon. It was doing pretty well. She had a strong book of business. She managed a team of stylists, and she had money coming in. But if you know what I know, if you've owned a salon for any length of time, you know money goes in and it goes right back out, right? And it goes back out to things like what you gotta take care of. You gotta take care of payroll, your rent, you gotta get supplies, you need equipment, and you gotta pay commissions. So Jasmine pretty much was just one expected expense away from a financial setback. Okay. So, but one day she ran into a friend, and her friend also was a salon owner, and she was just catching up. And Jasmine was telling her how frustrated she was. Like, I'm so sick and tired of never being able to be prepared for an unexpected expense. She always found herself having to move money around to make it work, and even dipping into her retirement accounts, which meant that she had to pay taxes and penalties, which slowed her down in her retirement. So her friend said, well, I used to deal with the same thing. But that's why I started keeping a portion of my money inside of an IUL. And Jasmine said, What? What do you mean? What's an IUL? And her friend said, Well, an IUL is an index universal life policy. It's basically just life insurance, but it also allowed me to build cash value that I could access when I needed it. And Jasmine said, Okay, wait, so how did you set that up? So her friend said, Well, I found someone on social media who helped me. Let me connect you to. And that's how Jasmine got connected with me. So together we designed an IUL strategy to help her build an additional financial reserve outside of her business and retirement accounts. So if another financial emergency ever came up, she would have another place to turn. So about a year later, as you would have it, life happened. Two things happened. Two of her stylists left, and then one of her major pieces of equipment needed to be replaced. Business was still coming in and cash flow, but the cash flow had gotten really tight. So instead of panicking, moving money around like she always does, and dipping into her retirement accounts, Jasmine called me and she said, Kim, remember that policy we set up? And I was like, Yeah, of course I remember. She says, Well, you know what? I think I need to use it. And I said, Sure thing, let's set up a meet. So let me show you what we actually put together for Jasmine. Now, if you look at an illustration like this can seem a bit complicated and maybe a bit intimidating, but there are really only a few numbers I want you to pay attention to. So the first is going to be the accumulated value, this column right here. And that is also called the cash value. This is the column that's actually earning interest. The second column that we're going to look at is called the cash surrender value. This shows the amount of money that's available and what she has access to after policy charges and any outstanding loans. Now let's look at what we actually originally designed for Jasmine. So we created her a 5-year funding strategy starting at the age of 45, and Jasmine planned to contribute 24,000 a year, which is 2,000 a month. It was an amount that she was comfortable setting aside without putting any pressure on her business. So she would be able to fund this over a course of 5 years, totaling $120,000. And at the age of 50, no additional premiums were planned. So next we're going to look at the column called the projected weighted average interest rate of approximately 6.82%. So this is the amount credited to the cash value column, which is this column again, remember. So this is not a guarantee. It is simply the rate being used to illustrate how the policy could perform over time. We're not making any unrealistic assumptions, just steady growth over time. So now let's return to what happened in the policy year 2 for Jasmine. So in policy year 2, she took out about $8,000 to handle the immediate staffing and equipment expenses in her salon. So she was able to access $8,000 in the form of a policy loan. Now the policy loan does get charged interest, and as you can see, that's illustrated right here at 6.25%. So after Jasmine accessed the 8,000, the policy still showed a balance of $28,620 in cash surrender value at the end of that year. So now this is where the magic begins to happen. Even though Jasmine accessed 8,000, her policy still showed a balance of that 28,620 in the cash column, right? In the cash surrender column. So what that means is she's still earning interest on that money. She still had the opportunity to receive interest credits, and it kept growing. So while Jasmine was busy solving her $8,000 problem with the salon, the remaining balance, the remaining value inside her policy was still working for her, meaning that it was still earning interest on the whole amount of money as if she had never taken out $8,000. Okay, so this was the aha moment for Jasmine. She didn't have to choose between handling today's emergency and continuing to build her future. She was able to address her immediate problem in the salon without going back into her retirement account. So, as you'll notice, she also took out another loan in year 4 for $15,000. So that brought her total amount that she had access to $23,000. Again, by age 50, she had completed her funding, her 5-year funding strategy. From this point forward, no additional premiums were planned. So now let's fast forward to age 65. So at age 65, the policy is still projected to be growing. The accumulated value is now projected to be $316,250. And after accounting for the outstanding policy loans, the cash surrender column is now projected to be $244,686. So now remember, these are just projected values, they're not guaranteed. Okay, so now let's move forward to age 70. So 870, same thing. The policy is still projected to be growing, even though Jasmine hasn't contributed another premium since she was aged 49. And that projected growth continues to grow beyond the age of 70. So now let's take a recap real quick. So let's see what happened. So Jasmine created a 5-year funding strategy totaling $120,000. When her salon experienced a financial emergency, she was able to access the money that she needed through a policy loan instead of dipping into her retirement account again. And over time, the policy continued to show projected cash value that could give her the greater financial flexibility that she needed. For Jasmine, this wasn't about walking away from the salon, it was about having options. And that's exactly what this strategy was designed to give her. So now, if you're watching this and you'd like to see what something like this could look like for you, based on how your salon actually makes money and how your cash flows from month to month, I'd be happy to walk you through it. So if you want, you can schedule a call by scanning the QR code, or you can just send me a message and we can go from there. Talk to you soon and have a beautiful day.